Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Well, let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll and I'm joined by Bloomberg's earnings reporter, Chloe Mele. Chloe, good morning to you. So Puma shares, first of all, taking a tumble as weak demand outlook and tariffs throw the sportswear maker off track, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely. So Puma is down a really quite a lot this morning. It did cut its outlook, as you mentioned. So that's on the back, of course, of tariff impact. It said that the tariffs are going to hurt gross profits by about 80 million euros. But also very weak demand for sports and athleisure products. This is a kind of a major setback for the new CEO, Arthur Holder, who just started. He started in July. He used to work at Adidas. He's been kind of brought in to lead this turnaround, and he's really looking to reset this brand that's really struggled to kind of connect with consumers, and it seems like that's not really worked yet. Puma has been underperforming Adidas and Nike, which are kind of its closest competitors, by quite a wide margin over the last few months. It's really not been able to sort of roll out the kind of sneakers that are really popular, that kind of capture the zeitgeist, like the Samba sneaker from Adidas or the Gazelle as well from Adidas. So it really needs that kind of enthusiasm from consumers. And hopefully if it does get that, then they'll be able to kind of get out of this.
Okay, so that's with Puma. Let's turn to Remy Cointreau next, toasting an improved profit outlook.
Yeah, so it lifted its profit guidance for the year. So that's thanks to two different things. So first of all, a rebound in sales of Cognac in the US, even though the sales in the EMEA were a little bit weaker. And it also, the fact that it managed to kind of avoid the worst of the tariff impact in China. So Remy Cointreau and also some of the other competitors in that space, so Pernod Ricard, for example, they avoided the worst case scenario on Cognac tariffs from China because they agreed to a minimum price level. So Remy Cointreau said that the move would have a maximum impact of 10 million euros rather than the 40 million that it had anticipated before. So that is quite positive there. However, managed to avoid the worst of the impact in China with tariffs, but there's still the US tariffs to think about, and that is a different story. That will also could have a 35 million euro hit. So it's not completely out of the woods. It also is dealing with inflation, economic uncertainty that's also weighing on sales of spirits, of course, and that weak segment in EMEA kind of proved that. So pretty good, and it lifted the shares, but not a fully positive story across the board.
Yeah, shares up 3.1% as we come towards the end of the first hour of European trading. We'll stay in France for our next story. Well, sort of. The French supermarket giant Carrefour selling its Italian operations. Was it a special offer, Chloe?
Yes, so Carrefour, so two sets of quite good news from Carrefour that kind of made investors quite happy. First of all, before we talk about the acquisition, there's a good set of results, reported second quarter sales that beat analyst estimates. It kind of defied expectations of a decline in France. So that was quite positive. There's been quite a lot of weakness in volumes in France, so that's quite good. But the main thing, yes, as you mentioned, so it is selling its Italian operations to New Princes, which is an Italian food company, for an enterprise value of about 1 billion euros. The CFO said yesterday that the transactions will have a positive impact on the net free cash flow of the group, because Italy was really a drag on earnings and also a drag on net free cash flow. It had a negative cash flow of 180 million euros last year. So all of this is also part of a strategic review that the CEO started to kind of improve the valuation. So we might see more asset disposals as the year goes on. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. It is quite positive for Carrefour. It had been struggling, the share price was down 10% year to date before today, but that boost today was probably really welcome.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.